dominated the world have used money to rule it and have ruled it in their own interest. It looks at a world economic system that has no regard for the poor, that has no regard for the small nations, that has no regard for the poor of the small nations. And the policy is a dignified policy, is not a violent policy, is not a policy of guns. It's a very honorable policy, but it is a very clear policy. It is a policy that calls the poor of the world to stand together, to stand firm together, to struggle together, to struggle for change, to struggle for justice, to struggle through organization, to struggle through will, to struggle through determination, to struggle to build a new kind of world in which your children and mine will walk with more dignity, with better housing, with better opportunity, with better prices, with better response from the World Monetary System. That is the world to which I call you. That is the world for which I struggle, and no power will turn me back from that world. And comrades, if you go and walk with me, if you go and step with me, if you go and move with me, we're moving as warriors. We're moving in determination. We're moving to struggle. We're moving to change that world. No power will turn us back.
Me ever fresh, me no green.
Me coulda never green, dog. Me no chow chow. No. Ha 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 ho ho. Who you know?
But if change is what we really want to see, ladies and gentlemen, then we must rise up. We must unite. We must advocate. We cannot remain silent. Where are the young men, the young women, the men, the women, the boys, the girls who will put aside political divide and do what is best for Jamaica? Eternal Father, bless our land. Guide us with thy mighty hand. Keep us free from evil powers. Be our light through countless hours. Even our pledge, our national pledge, says before God and all mankind, we cannot see a better Jamaica unless we return to the foot of the cross. Jamaica under God must increase in beauty, fellowship and prosperity, and play our part.
If I lived in China or even Russia or any totalitarian country, maybe I could understand some of these illegal injunctions. Maybe I could understand the denial of certain basic First Amendment privileges because they haven't committed themselves to that over there. But somewhere I read of the freedom of assembly. Somewhere I read of the freedom of speech. Somewhere I read of the freedom of press. Somewhere I read that the greatness of America is the right to protest far right. And so just as I say we aren't going to let any dogs or water hoses turn us around, we aren't going to let any injunction turn us around. Well, I don't know what will happen now. We've got some difficult days ahead. But it really doesn't matter with me now, because I've been to the mountaintop. I don't mind. Like anybody, I would like to live a long life. Longevity has its place. But I'm not concerned about that now. I just want to do God's will. And he's allowed me to go up to the mountain. And I've looked over and I've seen the promised land. I may not get there with you, but I want you to know tonight that we as a people will get to the promised land. So I'm happy tonight. I'm not worried about anything. I'm not fearing any man. Mine eyes have seen the glory of the coming of the Lord.
I said I'm happy every day as I travel through this land. I've been mighty blessed by God, and I'm holding to his hand. Yes, mommy, I see you. Yes, the journey's almost over. Shut up. And the battle is nearly won. And I have a feeling. I have a feeling in my heart. The best is yet to come. Sly Goffin over there, so wanna ready for it? Wanna get up now, man. Wanna get up now, man. I feel mad in this place. Let's go. I am happy every day as I travel through this land. I've been mighty blessed by God, and I'm holding to his. Over there, so I said the journey's almost over. I know the battle is nearly won, and I have a feeling in my heart the best is yet. Come on, sir. I said the best is yet to come. When I walk through heaven's gates, yeah, I said the first time I'll see Jesus. I can hardly wait. And he showed me to a mansion and said, child, this is your home. And I have a feeling in my heart. You know this?
Oh, you know.
I want to hear the angels singing. I want to be in that number. I want to hear that trumpet song. We have done now. I want to hear archangel voice. I want to hear archangel. Oh, I want to hear when my name is called. I want to hear. Everybody know I want to hear. I want to hear. I want to hear. I want to hear. Watch out now. I want to see the angel marching. I want to be in that number. I want to hear. I want to hear that trumpet song. I want to hear archangel voice. I want to hear. God bless you now. I want to hear when my name is called. I want to hear. Everybody this. If I'm not living for Christ, then I cannot be.
Blood and fire, comrades who are in jungle tonight. On the nose that the word is love. Comrades, me come with a speech, but it's a different speech me have to give tonight. But before I go into that, we have been saying all night that young people know say time come. And I want to bring up a young man who has looked for himself, him read for himself, him search for himself. And when him done, him realize that the only choice he could choose is the People's National Party. And I want to welcome Comrade Perry.
Hold on. We don't have much time. When I say time, you say come. Time. Senator Murray, somebody asked me, Perry, why aren't you a Labourite? Me ever fresh, me no green.
Me coulda never green dog, me no chow. No. Ha, ho. Who ya know? Underpants, Paulo. We don't get in.
Hold on, cut in, man. Hold on.
Me coulda never green.
Hold on, DJ, man. Hold on. I don't have much time. The next Prime Minister, let me shake your hands. So big up yourself, Mark Golding, Jensek, and brother, Dayton Campbell, doctor. Listen, in 1938, the People's National Party was formed out of the vision to help the poor people. It was born out of restlessness of the people seeking for better. And I believe that the People's National Party continues to be the answer for the people. Can I hear an amen? Hold on. In 1995, under the auspices of PJ Patterson, the most honorable, there was a revitalization and an extension of the new National Youth Service Program, which gave young people the opportunity to earn Commander Man Church. It gave people the opportunity to better themselves. I don't have much time, but hear what? I hear the other people them say, you must choose Jamaica, but you can't choose Jamaica without choosing the people. God bless you.
Me coulda never green dog, me no chow. No. Ha, ho. Me coulda never green dog, me no chow.
Move your blood, comrades.
Comrades, I want to let you know that young man is the former guild president at the University of the West Indies. That is the kind of young people that we attract in the People's National Party.
A corrupt government cannot liberate the people. If the head of the stream is corrupt, the entire river will be also. I do not support corruption. Corruption takes money away from children's education. It deprives hospitals of basic necessities. It means that roads are not fixed. Corruption deepens inequality. It siphons off taxpayers' money to make a few cronies richer with the political connections instead of benefiting the people. This government has been doing everything it can to weaken and undermine the Integrity Commission, which is an institution that I designed as Minister of Justice and brought the legislation to Parliament to fight corruption in this country. I have said it before and I will tell you again. Jamaica cannot move forward without a government built on integrity that embraces principles of good governance in this country.
If ever a time I need the Lord, surely I need him now. If there's ever a time I need the Lord, surely I need him now. If ever a time I need the Lord, surely I need him now. Ladies and gentlemen, I have to stop here because somebody in the chat say, you should have been the PM, but God knows best. Trust me, God knows best. When I look at everything that has been taking place, ladies and gentlemen, the Lord certainly knows best. Ladies and gentlemen, good evening, good evening. We're going to be taking calls today from the very beginning to the end of the show. I have a little engagement later on, so by 7:30, 7:40 I'll be out of here. But let's get right into it now. The Lord knows best, that I can say.
The perspective with Perry Cummings Jr. Big up yourself. The best is yet to come. This is my perspective. perspective. This is my perspective to bring change that I feel me objective. Scandal after scandal, look where Jamaica come to. Them a rob the money and a thief a lot too. Election tactics, what a disgrace. Them cut off ribbon and the place no safe. It's a prime minister, are you me a address? Police a kill off the youth if you check. Talking about the way country are the best. But though this is my perspective, telling you my perspective. This is my perspective to bring change that I feel.
Ladies and gentlemen, a pleasant evening to you all. I am your host, Perry Cummings Jr., and this is indeed The Perspective. Remember, we're taking calls right throughout the show, right? We have a few things to talk about, though. Tell me where you're viewing from. I'm seeing Richmond, Virginia. Who else? Who else? Blessings, Star Girl. Blessings to everybody. Why don't I always call me Pastor? What is wrong with you, people of the living God? North Carolina, Mandeville is in the building. Right? Oh, let me tell you, Irene Linton, the sleeper come over me, it had to be the devil. Queens, New York, Silo, St. Elizabeth, Clarendon, Falmouth. Blessings. Brampton, Canada. Blessings, man. Virginia, Bogwalk, East Portland is here. Brooklyn is here. Like up the live, ladies and gentlemen. You know the drill. Come on, who else? Viewing from Kingston, Jamaica. Blessings. Ontario, Canada. Brownstown, St. Anne. It has been a while since I've been to Brownstown. Charlestown, St. Anne. You have Brownstown, St. Anne here, Charlestown. You have St. Martin. Jamaica is here. Portland is here. Who else? Georgia, USA. Canada is representing tonight, man. Who else? Yes, man. Like up the life. Burlington. Out of Canada as well. Ladies and gentlemen, we have a very interesting country to discuss tonight. And that is the country of Jamaica. Fort Lauderdale is in the building. Central St. Mary is here. Can you believe it, ladies and gentlemen? What our country has become. Halfway through Kingston workplace. Barbara is still at work. Be safe on the road as you traverse these unforgivable streets. Well, Canada is also here again. Blessings, everybody. Thank you for tuning in each and every time. You know the word is always love. So the big discussion that the world is having, Port St. Lucie, Florida is also here. The big conversation that is happening right now, ladies and gentlemen, is the conversation about the fallout between Jamaica and Cuba. And yes, I call it a fallout. You can try to be diplomatic about it, but at this point in time, I won't use words that this government has no meaning of. They have no clue as to what diplomacy is. Because if they knew how to navigate diplomatic relationships, we would have seen a different outcome today. So I call it a fallout. It is a fallout. It is a fallout, so much so that Cuba said very, very clearly that Jamaica has yielded to US pressure to withdraw medical workers. I think for today's episode, we're going to take some calls to really have a deep dive into the Cuban issue with Jamaica, and really and truly I'd like to hear your views as to what you believe will be the implications of this. Of course, several of our opposition members came out swinging, demanding clarity, specifically Dr. Dawes and Senator Motley. But here's what I'm going to start off by letting you hear what our our leaders are saying. Yeah, man, the opposition came out swinging, ladies and gentlemen, swinging. We have a few of them. We have a few of them to play. So let us get that out of the way. All right, let us start with Dr. Dawes. Let's start with Dr. Dawes.
People's National Party Media Unit.
This is Dr. Al Dawes, Opposition Spokesperson on Health and Wellness. The decision by the Wellness Administration to end more than 50 years of medical cooperation between Jamaica and Cuba is a deeply unfortunate moment for our nation. For over half a century, Cuban medical professionals have served our people with dedication and compassion. In hospitals and clinics across the island, particularly in our rural and underserved communities, Cuban doctors and nurses have provided essential care. Their work has been a powerful example of international solidarity. I acknowledge the government's recognition of their service. However, bringing this partnership to an end is regrettable. This was not merely about filling staff shortages. It was about a shared humanity and a commitment to quality health care for all Jamaicans. This collaboration addressed critical gaps in our system and saved countless lives. History will judge this decision, and it will remember the value of the trust built between our nations over decades. On behalf of the opposition and the People's National Party, under whose leadership this partnership was established, I extend sincere gratitude to every Cuban medical professional who served here. On a personal note, I want to say thank you for your compassion and commitment. The grateful people of Jamaica will always remember your service, which has strengthened the enduring bond of friendship between our countries. For that, our nation remains deeply thankful.
At pnt.org.jm.
The Jamaica Labour Party has destroyed. They have destroyed a very important diplomatic relationship with the Cubans. Somebody, Princess Williams, rejoin. I believe persons are hearing me. I don't think it's an issue on my end. If you're hearing me, let me know if you're hearing me loud and clearly. So Princess Williams, just rejoin, all right? This government, they have destroyed a very important diplomatic relationship, because it is Cuba, ladies and gentlemen, that accounts for the hope of many Jamaicans in receiving proper medical care. As a matter of fact, when it comes to eye specialists, you cannot compete with the Cubans. If it weren't for the eye specialists from Cuba, many of our Jamaicans wouldn't have received top-notch expertise at a low cost. 277 medical professionals have been withdrawn from our country. And they have severed a 50-year-old program. Many of our students now, they are in limbo, because it is being said, the discussions that are being had now is that Cuba is wondering what is it that they should do with the Jamaican students who are in Cuba on scholarship studying medicine. You didn't hear that news, ladies and gentlemen. I tell you, you know, this country is going to regret it. It's just so sad that whatsoever is done at the government level, it will affect us all. But Cuba is now contemplating how they should move forward with the Jamaicans who are already in Cuba on scholarships that they provided. Many of the times free of cost. So I hear labor, and it is just so sickening,
Because you hear some of the bloggers of the Jamaica Labour Party trying to come up with some excuse, making it seem as if Jamaica did not have a choice but to sever the relation with Cuba. I say otherwise. I refuse to believe, ladies and gentlemen, that the only thing that this government could have done was to throw away 50 years, even more than that, just because of the United States. You're telling me that there were no other alternatives than to destroy this very... It's not like we weren't benefiting from Cuba, you know. I could understand, ladies and gentlemen, if they did not impact our country in any way. But we are talking about a country that has contributed significantly, primarily to our health. Miss Curiosity Kid says that they dash away the baby with the bath water. It is not like Jamaica's health system was anything to write home about from the genesis of it all. If it weren't for the Cubans, I am pretty sure the health sector would have been a no-show. So what will happen now? Well, again, more for opposition members. They came out to ask for clarity, and rightly so. Let's hear from more of our leaders.
The People's National Party Media Unit.
This is Senator Donna Scott Motley, opposition spokesperson on foreign, regional, and diaspora affairs. I am calling on the government to provide a full and detailed explanation to the Jamaican people regarding its decision to terminate the long-standing medical cooperation agreement between Jamaica and Cuba. For 5 decades, this program has been an established part of our healthcare system. Cuban doctors and medical professionals have served in hospitals and clinics across the island, helping to fill critical gaps in medical staffing. An arrangement that has supported Jamaica's healthcare for half a century cannot simply come to an abrupt end without the Jamaican people being given a clear and comprehensive account of what has led to that outcome. The public must also be informed of the practical implications of this decision. The country must be assured that there are clear and effective plans in place to maintain continuity of care, particularly in facilities where Cuban medical professionals have been providing important services. This is a matter that goes directly to the functioning of our healthcare system and the well-being of the Jamaican people. The government has a duty to provide clarity on both the reasons for this decision and the arrangements that will now replace this important partnership of 5 decades.
At pnp.org.jm.
5 decades. 5 decades. Ladies and gentlemen, it could only be the Andrew Holness-led administration to do something as unprecedented as that. But there are ripple effects. Because now, ladies and gentlemen, the Cuban government is now showing concern for students on scholarship. For context, let me read the article. Jamaica's decision to end its 50-year medical cooperation with Cuba has triggered concerns about how the move might impact the country's bilateral medical scholarship program, with at least one scholarship recipient already making contingency plans should the initiative also be scrapped. So I'm asking the government, yes, and I want to have a frank conversation, and I'm going to be giving perspectives from both sides. So people are saying, ladies and gentlemen, that Perry, can Jamaica stand up to Trump? If Trump is fighting against Cuba, and it seems as if Jamaica is standing with Cuba, and if Trump should decide to attack Jamaica, what should we do? Don't you think, Perry, it makes more sense to scrap the 50-year-old program and play it safe? I understand where those concerns are coming from. No doubt about it. We saw Mr. Trump going into Venezuela, taking out their president and going off with him someplace. We see how the United States is attacking Iran, bombing people. I understand the fear that is coming from some of our Jamaicans, and I can understand that argument. But here's what I'm going to show you another perspective. I'm going to show you another perspective. Because in all of what I'm hearing, persons are failing to understand that Jamaica has friends. Why are we having conversations like these as if Jamaica does not have allies? Why are we making it seem as if Jamaica had to bow to the United States? At this point in time, what Jamaica has shown the United States of America is that we have no backbone. What else will the United States impose upon Jamaica to accept? I'm going to ask the question again. Seeing that we have done this thing, which was very easy for Jamaica to tackle, all the Prime Minister had to do was to say, listen, while we value the trade relationships that we share with the United States, while we enjoy supporting tourism from the United States, while we enjoy the remittances and all of these things, make it very clear that you value the relationship. But it is not right on a case of morality, unless we are going to throw morality out the window, ladies and gentlemen. Am I to believe that Jamaica cares no longer about mores and what is right? On a case of morality, though, it cannot be with good conscience, ladies and gentlemen, that a country that has benefited from Cuba, that loves to talk about it being out of many one people, and love to talk about the shared history of the Caribbean, it cannot be, ladies and gentlemen, that on a matter of morality, Jamaica can tell me that the best decision that Jamaica could have made was to sever that diplomatic relationship with Cuba. At the end of the day, you must stand for something. You must stand for something. I am going to list out several allies that the Jamaican government has in their arsenal that probably they are not aware of. Or am I to believe that Jamaica has also severed those relationships too? The United Kingdom is an ally to Jamaica. They have strong cooperation in security, governance, education, and trade. There's a large Jamaican diaspora in the UK. Right? And Jamaica is also part of the Commonwealth of Nations, which also strengthens the relationship. Why is Jamaica acting as if we don't have friends in other places? The United States of America isn't the only superpower that we have close relationships with. Canada, one of Jamaica's closest development partners. They provide support in education programs, climate resilience, security and justice reform, and many Jamaicans work in Canada through seasonal work programs. China, one of Jamaica's largest investors in infrastructure. Everywhere you go, you see a Chinese shop. Projects include highways, ports, hotels, development of major highways and logistics infrastructure. And China has become a very powerful economic partner in the Caribbean. We could talk about Mexico and many other places. So I don't want any laborite to come and try and school me on international relations. And don't try and spread propaganda and make it seem as if Jamaica had no choice but to bow to the United States. Oh, the United States is going to bomb us. What are you? Are you stupid? You think that is how it works? So you believe that if Jamaica decided to continue the relationship with Cuba, that the United States of America was going to come and bomb the entire country? What is it that some of these JLP bloggers are talking on social media? Such nonsense. You think that is how international relationships work? You think the United States could ever dare try and harm Jamaica or Jamaicans like how they are doing to Cuba now and Iran? So don't try and spread propaganda and to try and drive fear into the people of Jamaica in thinking that Trump could just come and bomb Jamaica like that. No, that's not how it works. The issue is a personal one. I strongly believe that the government officials, they have a reason to be scared of Trump, not us as Jamaicans. What have we done to Donald Trump? We've done nothing to him. We're talking about the government. It seems as if you all have something to be afraid of. And you are projecting your insecurities on the people of this country. And because of that, you're afraid. Well, Mr. Trump doesn't have any dirt on me and on the people of this country. McLean, Trump cannot bomb Jamaica like that. Let us be realistic. What is it that Jamaica has done to the United States of America for America to bomb Jamaica? The United States of America is dependent on Jamaica for several things. And that is the thing. We are making it seem as if Jamaica is the only one that benefits from the United States. It's a give and take relationship. That is the propaganda of the JLP. They are going around and telling people that Trump is going to bomb Jamaica and that Trump is going to do this and Trump is going to do that. It is a personal issue, McDuffie. It has nothing to do with Jamaica. Whatever decision that the Andrew Holness-led administration has made that has caused the Cuban government to turn its back on Jamaica, it has nothing to do with Jamaica. So read between the lines, ladies and gentlemen, and understand what is it that I'm communicating. There is no reason for the United States to bomb Jamaica. I think it's so bomb go. Because of the geopolitics and where Jamaica is geographically, the United States will need Jamaica for several things. But because this corrupt administration, because they have dirty laundry, let's call a spade, because they have dirty laundry, and they have sunken themselves to the depths of the kuru and the corruption, and because CIA have them filed, they cannot say no. But here is the issue that I'm having. If their no's were not affecting the Jamaican people, I wouldn't have had a problem. But because they're at the helm of our leadership and they are saying no, It is affecting each and every one of us in Jamaica. And our health looks very blurry. I could give a history lesson as to what Cuba has. The Cuban and USA relationship is going very far back. Jamaica was never a problem to Cuba, America. One of these days I'm going to have a session on that. There is a reason why the United States. Alright, let's do a quick history. Let's do a quick history. A lot of persons think that Jamaica has done nothing to America. So there's no reason for the Prime Minister to be bowing to the United. Jamaica has done nothing. Cuba was a different case. Let's talk about Cuba and what happened. We can talk about the Cold War. It's a different thing. First of all, the Cuban Revolution in 1959, right? We have to go right back to Fidel Castro when they overthrew the Cuban government led by Fulgencio Batista. This is history, CXC. So Cuba was once, before all of that, Cuba was heavily influenced by American businesses. Many US-owned companies, land, sugar, plantations, and casinos. What happened, ladies and gentlemen, is that after the revolution, when Castro became leader, they turned Cuba into a communist state. He nationalized Cuba and he run out all of the American-owned businesses. It was simply a grudge. Cuba was once directly owned and controlled by America. When Fidel became leader, he said, listen, we don't want America owning businesses and those things in our country. Let's do away with them. And of course, USA wanting to have leverage in Cuba, in the entire Caribbean, they had a problem with that. Michael Manley stood up to the United States. Michael Manley stood up. It's propaganda. One of the propaganda coming from, and I'm going to warn comrades to not feed into, go and do your own research. Michael Manley didn't want to turn Jamaica in any communist country. What happened was, because of the Cuban Revolution, America isolated Cuba from the entire Caribbean. They blacklisted Cuba in the Caribbean. And what Michael Manley was saying is that, listen, it is wrong for us to turn our backs on our Caribbean neighbor. Because at the end of the day, when the rubber should hit the road, it is our neighbors that we'll have to depend on. And remember that one of Manley's policies was about the unifying of the Caribbean. So we need to understand these things. So when you see Mr. Trump acting out against Cuba, it's all because of the history. They want total control of Cuba. And because Cuba continues to leave them out, they're not allowing America to invade. They're not allowing America to do what they want to do in Cuba. They have a problem with that. History has a way of repeating itself. Bringing it back to Jamaica now. That has nothing to do with Jamaica. The government of Jamaica could have stood up and said, listen, Cuba has impacted our country. They have caused us to benefit in many ways. They have supported our health care. They have built schools. Take a stand. Stand for something. Stand for something. McCarthy, you have to understand where Cuba is located. The reason why the United States of America wants Cuba is because of its positioning in the Caribbean. You have to look at Cuba is very large. And Cuba is right there. You have to look on the map and understand where Cuba is situated. Any superpower like the USA would want Cuba to operate and to be one of their states. So it's not more so what Cuba has. It's about where Cuba is located. That is the reason why I'm going to be having geopolitical sessions on here. Because a lot of people think that it's always about resources. No. Most of the times it's about where these states are located. Because if you can transform Cuba into a military base that supports the elite, supports the United States of America, then what will happen for the United States is that they are expanding their empire. It's expanding their empire. Thank you. You took the words out of my mouth, Akil Carter. So I'm going to be having more sessions about these things. Imperialism. These are not new terms. We should know this. So it's not about what Cuba has. It's about where Cuba is located. Now I am saying this again. I refuse to accept that Jamaica had to bow to the United States of America. I refuse to believe that. I refuse to believe that. And you know what is going to happen? And I want to know, I want to know this too. And I'm going to be asking the Minister of Health, where will we get the specialists from at that same cheaper cost? Will the United States provide those medical professionals? Head boy came on here last night and told us that the same places that they're looking to get doctors from, they were trained in Cuba. The Philippines, the Indians, people from Ghana, they too got schooling from Cuba. So it's like you're going to be paying more for the same thing. What's the sense? Let us hear what the Minister of Health said.
What was a sticking point in the discussions with Havana that have now led to us after 2023, 3 years of negotiating to 2026, no longer able to keep them in the same way?
Well, first of all, I think it's important to make a distinction between a technical agreement and the desire to have the Cubans here and the value that they have played in terms of our health system for Jamaicans over those many years. We value their contribution, we value the friendship, and we would certainly like to see it continue. The sticking point is really an issue of the terms of the agreement. And the initial agreement was expired some years ago, as you have said in your preface run-up. We have been trying to discuss, to agree on a new set of terms, and we were unable to. And that is what led to a decision to not pursue any longer after a few years another MOU and rather give an opportunity in recognition of the excellent contribution of the Cubans to individual contracts if they so desire. Now, it really is up to the Cubans to make a decision. Just as we have our sovereign right to make an offer, they have their sovereign right to refuse or to accept the offer. And of course, the soundings up to this point is suggesting that they may have an issue. So, I'm hoping that the conversation is not a signal of any souring of the friendship, or certainly a recognition of the contribution of the program over time. And I certainly hope that we can find a way to make it work. In the meantime, of course, we have a responsibility to the people of Jamaica. I have a responsibility as Minister of Health to deal with the health systems, and we just have to develop some contingencies while we hopefully try to work this out.
The Ministry of Foreign Affairs yesterday in its statement had indicated that we were now going to be reaching out to these doctors individually. The 277 that Cuba has now said are on the ground here. Has the Cuban government officially consented to their citizens being hired individually, or do they view this as a breach of their sovereign control over their medical personnel, especially after the statement today saying they're bringing them all back home?
Well, clearly the statement is self-evident that there is disapproval of the approach that we have pursued or have been intending to pursue. And again, that's their right. I mean, it's the right of the government to determine. It's the right of the Cubans who are here to determine. So this is not about forcing anyone to do anything. It really is an attempt at trying to find accommodation. It's part of the negotiations, and it's part of the offer that we have placed on the table. So I think it's important to respect the rights of Cuba and Cubans to determine what they want. And I hope that, if what they want is return, and if the Cubans here want to go back, we should allow them free, safe, and comfortable passage while we try to work out the challenges that we face.
We heard as well from the Minister of Foreign Affairs today that there was no pressure from the U.S. On this. However, Cuba in its statement says that that's not accurate, and the 2025 U.S. Trafficking in Persons report for Jamaica explicitly listed hiring Cuban workers directly as something that they called a prioritized recommendation to avoid a Tier 2 downgrade. Is it then appropriate for us to say that there was no influence? Because remarkably, we were doing yesterday exactly what it is that the U.S. said we were supposed to do in order to not be downgraded and have visa restrictions and the like.
Well, pressure is a technical term that one could interpret in different ways. I mean, the U.S. certainly has a right, as does Cuba and Jamaica, to express itself on what it sees as an issue. We live in a global community. The geopolitical considerations change from decade to decade. It's a very sensitive time now. And we have to listen to all concerned as we seek to protect the rights and the interests of our people. We have our own laws. Those laws should guide how we act. So, if I were to identify all the parameters, all the factors, I'd be prepared to say that you can't ignore the geopolitical considerations, but you also have to reconcile that with your own sovereignty, self-determination, how you integrate yourselves in the hemisphere, in the markets, how do you achieve the best protection for your people, and how you're viewed in the international community. So some of the renegotiation would have factored some of those considerations. And I don't know if it is pressure per se, or it is just a pragmatic, practical approach to achieving what you're seeking to achieve. And hence some of the changes that were proposed.
Foolishness. 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 Minister of Health, we have been saying it. You need to go, resign, step away. You've done nothing for the Ministry of Health. You've done absolutely nothing for the Ministry of Health. Talking about Jamaica did have to bow, and Jamaica had to make that decision. Jamaica is not a military threat. The United States of America will use military might against those who are military savvy. Jamaica doesn't have an army, so there's no need. The United States wouldn't do that. But we have to stand for something, ladies and gentlemen. When we cut off the relationship with Cuba, how is our health sector going to be improved? Health is a critical thing to any economy, to any society. So when we cut off that very important place, how are we going to survive where health is concerned? It is a very serious conversation. But I can tell you this, Mr. Tufton, the time will come when everything shall be revealed. You've spat in the faces of Jamaicans. You've spat in the faces of Jamaicans. You cared not for the poor and for those who would have had had to depend on those relationships. Because all of you can afford to fly out and go to top-notch hospitals overseas. One in the ready, you can go to Andrews, on Old Hope Road. So it doesn't affect your family. And because it doesn't affect your family, you don't care about those who cannot afford those millions. We don't even have a specific burn unit to deal with burn victims. They must be each up at some place. What have you done for health? This is the reason why you cannot be reactive. You have to be proactive. Put measures in place so that Jamaica can stand on their own feet. What was put in place, peradventure, something like, you're telling me that this government didn't put anything in place? Peradventure, we had to end the relationship with Cuba. You're telling me that for so many years, for over the 10 years that this Andrew Holness, that administration has been in power, from 2016 till now, you're telling me that you've never put nothing in place so that Jamaica could stand on its own feet where health and wellness is concerned? Not one thing was put in place to fill any gaps. After all of those millions want to rub up, and we can't see what is it that the money is doing. It's not me, say no. The Minister of Education said it in the Standing Finance Committee meeting. She said that alright, let me play it. Her words, not mine. I'm just going off what you guys say. Hear what the Minister of Education said the other day, ladies and gentlemen. Listen to what the Minister said.
One of the things I found, and I'm very open with what works and what's not working. One of the things I found in the ministry that has not worked is us thinking up programs based on how we feel. And that happens across government in terms of policy making. I think this is what we need to do. And a key thing for me is that we need to pilot the things. Find out that they're working. Have the appropriate monitoring and evaluating framework so that you know that this thing is going to work before you spend billions and roll it out.
You hear what the minister said? The minister said... Listen to what the minister said. The minister, listen to what she said, ladies and gentlemen. It's not me said, wanna spend billions and dollars on things that don't work, wanna waste people money. And there's nothing to show. Listen to what she said.
Because one of the things I found, and I'm very open with what works and what's not working. One of the things I found in the ministry that has not worked is us thinking up programs based on how we feel. And that happens across government in terms of policy making. I think this is what we need to do. And a key thing for me is that we need to pilot the things. Find out that they're working. Have the appropriate monitoring and evaluating framework so that you know that this thing is going to work before you spend billions and roll it out.
Listen, it's for them administration say, you know, that them spending billions and nothing not working is she said. Minister Tufton, you and this administration has done absolutely nothing for the Jamaican people. I thought I've seen it all. I thought that it could not get worse than imposing new taxes on a set of people who are still suffering after Hurricane Melissa. You think you've seen it all when $11.4 billion will be taken from the National Housing Trust for the next 5 years. You think you've seen it all when the Minister of Energy and Transportation could breach procurement guidelines, regulations and rules, and nothing comes out of it. You'd think you've seen it all, ladies and gentlemen, from the Jamaica Labour Party, the Angela, that you'd think that that was it. It couldn't get any worse than that. Lo and behold, the Andrew Holness led administration, the Jamaica Labour Party, has put Jamaican people one step closer to death. Because if we don't have proper health systems and staff to meet the needs of health, then we are putting ourselves one step closer to death. If we don't have enough doctors, if we don't have proper hospital, if we don't have, this government has to put Jamaican people one step closer to their grave. This should be the straw that broke the camel's back. Because everybody will be affected by this. Labor rights and PNP, independent, non-voter, it doesn't matter. Health affects everybody. But you have some of those blind labor rights, blind loyalty. And they are still going to say 1 p.m. Look at what the Prime Minister has done. This is unprecedented. I've never seen this before in my entire life. I have never seen this before in my entire life. You'd think that, ladies and gentlemen, you'd almost say, no man, I don't think the government would ever do something like that. Can you imagine? Can you imagine? Ladies and gentlemen, listen to how Michael Manley back in the days spoke up and spoke out. And this is how you do it. This is how you do it. After this, we're going to take a few calls.
People in the world who say now, why are we taking this risk to anger the United States of America? And the answer is this: we are not angering the United States of America. They are angering themselves. They are not going to tell me what relationship I have with Fidel Castro. We have that friendship with Cuba as part of a world alliance of third world nations that are fighting for justice for poor people in the world. And I tell you as the party leader, as long as this party is in power, we intend to walk through the world on our feet and not on our knees.
We paid for it, we paid for it dearly in terms of aid. But Michael was very clear that, it's certain things you just have to take a stand on. Very firm on that.
At home, Manley's socialist dream had become a middle-class nightmare. If you don't like it, Manley told them, there are 5 flights a day to Miami. In the months that followed, thousands took his advice. Planes were packed with Jamaica's middle classes, taking their money with them.
When the first serious attempt at change was made, as always happens, there's a sort of almost like a shockwave that goes through the people who are better off and who have never really questioned the nature of the society under them. And so you did have a very real and regrettable reaction to some.
An American conspiracy to bring him down.
Let me tell you how destabilization works. They will go in the secret group that is trying to mash up the country. Will go in among the youth and find one that look like a leader. And they call him one side and they say, hey brother, we drop you $1,000 on the side if you get the boys tomorrow night to go down across the road and carry out a raid. But him don't know that it is a destabilization agent that has paid somebody to come among him and sell the idea of starting a bit of a street fight.
Known that some famous syndicated columnist of the United States was going to come to spend a week resting in some villa. And mysteriously, the first night he's there, gunmen would arrive and start firing guns round and round his villa. Nobody would be hurt. By the next morning, he's in a state of terror. He flies home, and 79 newspapers across America read the story of the violent, terrible society disintegrating with gunmen the next morning. So you get the next few thousand tourist cancellation.
Suddenly guns were everywhere. Michael's allies saw this as proof of
had to fight the good fight, because that was what life was about, to resist these sort of overwhelming diktats as to how we should live.
On Edward Searga's second visit to
the militancy that Manley brought through socialism made it now something that wasn't around the corner and behind the scenes, but right out in the open.
Whereas before there was coexistence, there was rivalry. I'm a JLP man, I'm a Labour right. I'm a PNP man, I'm a comrade. And you know, my party better than yours or whatever. But it didn't come to people killing each other. As it got hardened, it came to that.
Stand by and allow this sabotage of our country to continue. The cabinet has a...
When they called the state of emergency, they locked up all the frontline leadership of the Jamaica Labour Party, the frontline workers. I was one of those who was locked up. I was detained for 7 months, kept in indefinite detention, no charge.
Other move the word for Michael Manley, for the people's man. Yeah. Him see the people, him see the struggle of the people. Power for the last man, power for the people, all the while. Put up on people, power for the people, all the way.
Michael had enough grassroots support to win the 1976 election, but the crisis still deepened. Foreign businesses found more friendly places to invest their money.
They frightened away every foreign investor that we had, and a lot of local investors at the same time, because they were threatened. They were told that they were not the sort of people that were not wanted here, that Jamaica was going to be a socialist country, and that the capitalist was no longer welcome. America was called a wicked imperialist capitalist nation, an exploiter, and the whole ambience of the place was very frightening to any kind of investment.
But to bow to US pressure as his socialist dream of a free, equal, independent Jamaica crumbled before his eyes. He went to the World Bank and effectively handed over the running of the country to the IMF. Jamaica's future would now be in the hands of foreigners.
He was, you know, sort of proud person who felt that although your country was small, that you had rights like everybody else. And I think he realized the extent to which these rights were going to be withdrawn.
Less than 20 years of independence had brought the island back to financial slavery. The IMF loan of $29 million was not enough and came with strings attached, which put an end to social reforms and led to shortages.
We can't get oil, we can't get detergent, we can't get flour, we can't get rice.
History has a way of repeating itself. The Labourites are selling out Jamaica again. The Labourites are selling out our country again. It is so sad, ladies and gentlemen. It is so sad when you think about it. So sad. If you don't stand for something, you will fall for anything. And my question is this to the Labourites who are applauding what has happened with the Jamaica-Cuba relationship. Because anything that this administration does, it is the best thing for you. It's as if the JLP, they can cook filth between bread and give it to you to eat, and you will eat it and say it tastes good. It doesn't matter what this administration does, ladies and gentlemen. Labourites will never have a problem with it. So it's like the JLP can literally cook dog poop, give you no problem. How could this be something to applaud? How could Labourites be applauding this? My question is this. What else will the United States of America ask of the Jamaican government, seeing that it is clear that the Jamaica Labour Party-led administration is unable to say no to the United States? I'm going to ask the question, I might ask it a different way. Seeing that Jamaica was unable to stand up to the United States on this matter, which I believe was a simple matter. You already have a relationship with Cuba for 50 years. Longer than that too. But for 50 years you've had a program, a medical program that has benefited both Cuba and Jamaica. Don't make it seem as if Jamaica was the only one benefiting from the Cuban doctors. I saw a video of a Cuban living here telling us how many Cubans benefited from this relationship. A lot of them were able to start businesses here. A lot of them were able to save money and do a whole lot of things. The propaganda of the JLP is clouding the truth. The Cubans are speaking out. Don't allow the JLP and the propaganda of the imperialists make it seem as if the Cuban doctors weren't benefiting and they weren't okay. They came out and they spoke up. Many of them could ship even containers back to their country. The lady said, I wonder if I could get the thing here. The lady cried. She cried because many Cubans depended on this relationship too. They could have taken care of their families. What else will the Jamaica Labour Party-led administration agree to now that the United States can see for themselves that the leader has no spine? It's a very serious question, because I strongly believe that the United States, they have a few more things that they want this administration to implement. Mark my words, other things will be coming up. Other agreements will be coming up. Many other things will be coming up. And if you are not careful, ladies and gentlemen, but I've been saying it, Jamaica is unrecognizable. More agreements, Karel Banton, will be coming up, and Jamaica, no, they will not be able to say no, because guess what? They've set a precedence for themselves. What other agreements will the Andrew Holness-led administration sign to? What else will they have to bow to? I'm asking the question. I feel it's strong on me right now, ladies and gentlemen. What else will this government allow the United States of America to impose on our children, to impose on our culture, to impose on our country, to impose on our people? Am I to believe that the Andrew Holness-led administration is an instrument of the United States of America to expand their territories and their empire? Serious question. I'm watching. Let me take, guys, I can only take a few calls. Remember, I have another engagement. So if you want to call in, call now. Go ahead, CJ, blessings.
Yeah, brother. Well, God, everything good?
Yes, man. Let me know what you think. Talk to me.
You know where yourself in the day, yo. But it's the public commission from where you but back in town, you know? But
yeah, man.
You what? Juliet, Miss Don, Nobody call Angie name, no, because Angie have nothing to do with this. I got a real boss. See me? Me can talk tonight, Perry. Me can talk, brother.
Yeah, I don't have much time though.
Alright, let me talk. Look a bit. I can just say one thing. Jamaica, think about this for a second. USA have the files on these people and won't release it to you, you know. They hook up Andrew on a string and I move him like a puppet, you understand? This is why the Cubans, them have to go home, them have to leave. If they not free up, believe me, if the Cuba them not free up, your file get free up. It's a one or two option, you know. But let me tell you something, Jamaica. If you don't realize that Juliet oldness is a, hey, I don't want to cuss on your channel, brother, because I know says that, you know.
Yes, don't cuss, don't.
She's a done. You hear me? As she call the shots, brother. Remember me tell you, Andrew always wear panty. Him now wear boxer, him wear panty, brother. Believe me. We'll box up that regular. Juliet, allow the people them and free up the money, no man. Make the people them go on about them business. I want to you. You know, sister, people are dead, brother. People outside still. Them outside still. Marvin, anybody watch Marvin? The boy would tell him go, yo, brother. I don't want to go too deep, you know, Perry. I don't want to go too deep, but just believe me when I tell you, Jamaica and your oldness, there's a demon behind a demon man. Believe me, there's a demon woman, a bigger demon behind a demon man. And she control the shots. Nobody focus on Andrew. Focus on the woman there. What says she don't have nothing to do with nothing. Me know, man. Believe me when I tell you, as she had it done, as she call the shots. Now get it twisted. Kamina Johnson Smith, you see that woman there?
Yes.
Alright, careful yourself. Yo, Perry, that's all I have to say, no, brother. I don't want to keep you up, but go on with the channel, brother. Bless up.
Yeah, man. Blessings, man. Blessings.
Bless up.
I hear people telling me that the Jamaican people must get up and go out and demonstrate. I don't have it wrong. I've been asking for Jamaica to come together. But the reality is, ladies and gentlemen, you cannot ask a divided country to unite on certain matters. And let me address this. We cannot expect half of Jamaica to go out and protest against something that is going to affect the entire Jamaica. Before we can go out and have any meaningful protests, Jamaica needs to agree on something. Some people can go out and some don't go out. A lot of us are talking. How many of us as comrades are going to go out? It is easy to be at a distance and say, Jamaica must get up and go out, and Jamaica must get up and go out. How many of us are going to go out there and talk? We have to first unite. A kingdom divided against itself cannot stand. It is easy to type in the chat and say, oh, too much talking, it's time to go out and protest. But when the call to protest happens, or when the call is made, how many of us are going to go out there? How many of us are going to go out there? So many of us who are talking about protest and talking about listen to me, I'm a realist, you see? I call it as it is. A lot of comrades are afraid. A lot of comrades are also silent. It's very few comrades speaking up these days. It's few comrades speaking up these days. A lot of the issues that are happening in our country, God bless the few voices that are speaking up and speaking out on a daily basis. Look at the many things that have been happening in this country. But prudence with the half day. With the half day. Before I call a protest, or before I call any protest of any sort, I have to know that the people are serious. Because I don't deal with no joke thing. Exactly, McLean production. Is only when election time come, people willing to go out in the road. But life goes beyond elections. life goes beyond an election season. Let me take this call, because I'm going to have to wrap up soon. Go ahead, caller. Yes.
Mr. Perry, good evening.
Evening.
Mr. Perry, the thing is, as I listen to you, a country that is divided can go there okay, there's something come back home. Sorry, Mr. Perry. Can go out there to demonstrate. The country has to come together and be unified before something like that can happen. Other than that, the PMP can go out. Perhaps there might be a few JP people who have really seen the light and understand what is happening right now. They can go on their own, but to have that full strength together to change, to overturn this government now, Jamaica has to be unified. Other than that, we're not sure how it might work. A message might send to them when a few might be out there demonstrating. What did I get? What happened to the private sector? What happens to some other organization? They're quiet. The women's movement. There needs to be a men's movement in Jamaica too. What happened to the youth arm of the PNP?
Oh Lord, talk about it, sister. I've been very dissatisfied.
I don't understand what's going on.
I've been very, very concerned about the youth voice from the People's National Party. I'm not going to
go on, Mr. Perry, talk.
Caller, you touch a point, I'm so passionate about it, because look at what is happening. Persons are going to, you know who should be the ones to really and truly mobilize a peaceful protest more than anybody? It has to be the young people. If the youth of this country could put together their indifference and their apathy and say, listen, young people, a future in jeopardy, and come together, but nobody, where are the young people?
Even the Jamaica Council of Churches, because at one point in Jamaica you'd find the church people marching and speaking out loud. I can't understand these organizations that you think would be more prolific about the situation. They're the ones who are quiet. Mr. Perry, hard times are coming, and it is here or there will be suffering. You think it's suffering yet?
It's coming.
You think it's suffering yet? Then, Mr. Perry, if the doctors are gone, these people are lifesavers. And to give a Jamaica, sell out Jamaica, and let me tell you, as you say, there is many more asking of the U.S. government to Jamaica. And the Prime Minister will concede and give it. Why? A lot of dirt is on him, and he will do anything to save himself and his government. Remember me telling that. He's going to give in. And Jamaica is in a bad state, a bad state. And then, when you look at it on the other side, the JLP, it's stupidity to be cheering about the doctors not being around, because they have family members. What about themselves?
Exactly.
Getting sick and going to the hospital. Remember, PMP has suffered, JLP has suffered. PMP has to go to hospital, JLP has to go. The taxes are me, everybody bought J and P. So what is the rejoicing all about? I don't get it. I don't understand the mind of these people, because they're all into it. There's no exception to the rules. Yeah, come on. This is why I say if Jamaica don't come on the united front, in that way make it, in that way cut it. Jesus help them. And when them vote right now, me not service some of them, me only sorry for the people who saw it and know what's coming, and they're innocent to it. But you see the one them go vote for them, dog me and them supper. Only no come beg up on the diaspora, we're not there, because the burn victim of late, she died.
Yes.
Sister came out. Ask the Prime Minister, out of the trillions and the billions we Andrew have, Andrew would not have missed that amount and he given it. She did. She did, right? Now, when I look at it, the Prime Minister turned his back I wonder who them vote for. I wonder who that family voted for. She did. He could have helped. He could have been. Yet them a run out. Them want the diaspora and ordinary people we are suffer already. We're anti-tax and treated so badly to come give. With her carelessness cause all of that. Her bully isn't just like size 13 a bully. And to that man talking, she is leading Jamaica and Andrew. I see it. Look here. I would like to face that woman face to face. That booty girl. That booty girl must dress her down, you know. I don't know who she thinks she is, you know. And I want her to meet her match, you know.
Alright, caller. Alright.
I want her to meet her match. Mr. Perry is bad. And I'm going to suffer some more, you know. May God have mercy on Jamaica.
Alright.
Motor woman, Bigfoot woman, behave yourself, Delilah. Thank you, Mr. Perry.
Alright, caller. Hello, greetings, go ahead.
Hi, good evening, Perry. Blessings to everyone.
Blessings.
Perry, I want to open the eyes of the Jamaican people that there is a war that has been going on long before a lot of you people were born.
Yes.
So, only a corrupt government can be put to his knee. If he doesn't, like Frank Sinatra say, if he don't say the word he truly feel, you know, and not be the one who kneel, he should do things his way. And back in the early 70s, when the country was under distress where there's no food, is because we had a prime minister who would not kneel, Michael Manley. So this war, if anybody research the war between US and China in Tiananmen Square, and a lot of their people were mulled over and killed in the market in Tiananmen Square, China. That is not forgotten. So you guys remember when Rubio came to Jamaica, he said straight out that he did not want his enemies in his backyard. So, you know, once the Chinese is anywhere, the Prime Minister of Jamaica is going to have those island and country on a fast hold. So this is one thing I want to tell Jamaican people. I want to tell them not to be afraid, because we have the African Union. Hold on, Perry. Hold on, Perry, 1 second. Yeah, all right, hold on. We have the African Union, okay? The seven, we have the African Union, we have China, we have Russia, that actually would stand up for us. And we have the British, we have the UK. So to be afraid that we are gonna truly suffer, it doesn't means that, you know, only thing they can say to us is to get out of their country. Yeah, but if Andrew Holness stand up strong, we have Portuguese, the Blue Water Control.
Tell them, sister, tell them.
Yeah, that control the vast land instead of their control choke points. We have the Cartas system. They force all merchant ship to buy passport cartas. If we don't have one ship, what was seized or sunk. Hold on. So hold on. Let me give you more. So when if the U.S. Navy should block our seas, we have CARICOM, we have Barbados, you know, CARICOM to be a zone of peace. We also have we are also the Kingsland. Yes, so we have that. So if we were to put in an economic exile, you know, America would face great distress. Yes, because the Zone of Peace movement, Jamaica, is led by a global movement to declare the Caribbean a protective zone free from foreign military footpoints. So if we were to put under maximum pressure, Jamaica is a central help for Caribbean diplomacy and the home of the International Seabed Authority. China invests a lot of money into Jamaica, so they do not want to see their investment go to waste. Even though that might be a tactics, you know. The United Kingdom and the Commonwealth is a key member of the Commonwealth, while UK is a close ally to the United States. A total shutdown of the Commonwealth realm would put London in an impossible position.
Yes.
The reaction would cause an outrage from the British public and the Caribbean diaspora in the UK. That would force the British government to mediate and condemn the action. They might lead to a coalition at the UN to provide a humanitarian corridor or food and medicine for Jamaica. Russia is the opportunist. Russia has historical use tension in the Caribbean, like in Cuba and Venezuela, to poke at the US backyard. The reaction, Russia would use the situation as a propaganda to paint the US as an imperialist aggressor.
Yes.
The action, they might offer security cooperation or intelligence to Jamaica, further escalating the military tension in the waters. So I'm saying all these things to let Jamaica know that the first African nation would probably rise up is Ghana, because we are a part of Ghana.
Yes.
So, I mean, we live too much on modern day, because our foreparents now, when our foreparents were fighting, our foreparents write letters to the king on a parchment paper. They are not saying that we didn't fight for independence, for our democracy. We wrote letters. We were the less bloodiest island to get our democracy. We were one of the first. So do not let the war between other nations let us kneel and be afraid. We are strong people. We came from afar. You know, and one thing I really have to say, you see, the reason why we were enslaved is because they found out the treasure that Africa have, and they were actually tricked.
Yes.
Because somebody come,
Go ahead, man. I'm listening. Yes.
The African, our foreparents were actually tricked. So you have diamond and gold, and you do not know the value to what you have. Someone come with something you don't know, like a matches, and light a fire, and show you how to light a fire and take away your treasure.
Yes.
This is what is happening. A lot of exploitation now. America is a sword in our sea. But we remember we are a brave and proud country. And our leaders, the Governor General and our Prime Minister, need to stand up to these people, because we are not a part of their war. We didn't create this war. So I'm just advising our Jamaica. And then one thing I want to tell the world, and I want to tell Cuba, do not treat our people bad because of the mistakes our government make.
Tell them, yes.
Yes, just respect our people, knowing that everywhere, I'm not going to say all our people, but I could say that 80% of our people who are in the diaspora are hard-working people.
Yes.
Whether they are legal or illegal, we bring a lot of our energy to you guys. So respect us. Don't treat us bad. And I want to tell everyone to stay, strong and not be afraid. Don't be afraid. We have gone through so much, and we fought our way out of it. So just stay strong. We have the Bible, and that is our strength, okay? You guys have a good night.
Blessings, caller. Thank you so much.
Thank you. You're welcome, Perry.
Ladies and gentlemen, if this government was put in Jamaica first, they would not have ended a 50-year agreement where our medical expertise is concerned and our medical support is concerned. If this government was put in Jamaica first, they wouldn't have turned their backs on Cuba, because it is Jamaicans who ultimately benefit from that relationship. So it's not about putting Jamaica first. This act was done out of fear. You heard what the caller said at the very beginning? Only a corrupt government bows. Profound statement. Only a corrupt government bows. So labor rights, say what you want to say again. Remember, you're the only set of people where if the JLP administration puts filth between bread and call it a sandwich, you will eat it, belch, and say it was the best thing you've had in your entire life. So I'm not surprised that labor rights are going out on social media and driving fear into Jamaicans in making it seem as if what the Prime Minister did or what Mr. Tufton did was the best thing. I know that if the JLP gives you doo-doo, you will have it for your meal, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. So I'm not even surprised anymore. At this point in time, they can give you anything and you consume it. But I'm talking to well-thinking Jamaicans. Not talking to just comrades. I'm talking to well-thinking Jamaicans. And to the well-thinking Jamaicans, what this JLP administration has done is to put us at even greater risks where our health is concerned. 277 doctors were taken out of our country by the Cuban government. Not one labor right is going to come and tell us how will that gap be filled. All they're going around is shouting 1 p.m. That is the only thing in their vocabulary. Some of them, let me not be disingenuous. The only thing some of them can say is 1 p.m. and shower labor right. But when we're asking the very important question, they cannot give a response. How will we fill the gaps? How will you replace the 277 doctors who provided top-notch medical support at a cheap cost? That's my first question. My second question is, how will you provide opportunities for our students to be trained in certain sectors of health? We currently have Jamaican students in Cuba when the Cuban government is now wondering if they should just scrap this entire scholarship system, because they talk about the Prime Minister being a chess player. Well, he needs to know what is called the domino effect. And my last question is this: was the discontinuing of this relationship between Jamaica and Cuba one for Jamaicans, or was it a decision made for a set of people? Yes, Ricardo, the Prime Minister is a chess player. C-H-E-S-T, not C-H-E-S-S. And I wouldn't be surprised that labor rights would literally spell chess, C-H-E-S-T. So probably that's what they're talking about. How will you fill the gaps? I'm wrapping up. I have somewhere to be. How will you fill the gaps? Second question: how will you provide those same beneficial opportunities to our students who wants to study medicine overseas? And my last question is this: did this decision really benefited Jamaica, or it was just a few elitists, a few oligarchs, a few people from the upper echelons of society that are fearful that they will lose opportunities and benefits if they didn't bow to the imperialist power. Ladies and gentlemen, think on these things. Keep on asking the questions. We have to pray. We have to pray. Ladies and gentlemen, let me pray and let me wrap up. Father, we give you thanks for your mercies. We give you thanks for your grace. Truly, there's a lot happening in our nation. But we are asking you, Lord, to guide us. Guide our steps. So much is happening in our country, all over the world. Our people are at risk. How will Jamaica navigate this? Well, Lord, unless you intervene and give the wisdom, then we are like fish out of water. Lord, I pray for Jamaica. I pray for our leaders, that you will inspire them in a special way. Because we are experiencing unprecedented times. And many persons are blinded by politics. There's a cloak of darkness over many eyes. But Lord, I am asking you to help us. Help us, Lord. We look to you and tell you thanks. In Jesus' name. Amen. Ladies and gentlemen, keep praying. Keep asking those questions. Bye-bye. See you soon.